Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Developer Waypoints. This is the final episode of Season 2. This is episode 6, right, Nick?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming back. Thanks for going on this journey with us through this season of frameworks. This episode is part 2 of Vue. So 2 weeks ago, we initiated our first dive into Vue. I liked it. I'm excited for today. Nick's got some very exciting, interesting content planned for today. So let's hope nothing goes wrong, and it'll just be flawless, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is live, and I'm known to make tons of mistakes, so we'll see.
we know what we're doing now. Like this is just easy. We just kind of code it, and it's done. In case you're wondering if this is your first time here, Developer Waypoints is a progressive coding series where we pick a topic and dive into it over a season of episodes. We're wrapping up Season 2, which is frameworks, with part 2 of Vue, obviously. And Palermo's here. We've got a few mods in chat. At least Palermo for Twitch is here. He's the one with the sword in chat. Any question that we can't get to, or if we're distracted, or answering something else, Palermo can help. You can ask him if you have a specific question. I am there's our name tags. My name is Peter Malahan. I am a senior UX designer for here, and to my left.
Yeah, I'm Nic Raboy, and I'm the lead developer evangelist at here.
Yes, so we have responsibilities. And this is our part-time series job. So if you see here dev talking in chat, that's me. I'm controlling here dev. If you like this content, you can give us a follow. Click that little purple heart at the top. You can also subscribe to our channel. And any revenue, any subscription revenue or bits or anything that's donated to us while we're live, or after the fact, I guess you can do that after the fact. Any revenue that we'll get is donated to a charity called CARE. It's an international relief fund. There's info at the bottom of the page. You can ask more about it. I'll try to fill you in.
Do you want to explain the difference between follow and subscribe? Because it took me a while to learn about what the difference was.
Yeah. So it's different from YouTube. Usually you subscribe to a channel. A follow is like a subscribe on YouTube. So when you follow a channel, you get notifications. If you go to Twitch, you'll see if they're live. They'll give you a little icon. And you can also make sure the bells hit so you can get notifications. And if you have the Twitch app, you actually get a push notification. A subscribe is you pay money. You ever heard of it? You pay I think it's like $4.99 or something, and you donate to that channel, and you get a month of being a subscriber to that channel. So it's like a monthly subscription to support a channel. You can choose to renew it each month, and you can actually, if you have a Prime membership, you can do it for free if you link your Amazon account to Twitch. Ever heard of it, Nick?
Maybe.
Anyway, that's a lot up front. Nick, what are we doing today? What's the plan?
Yeah, so we're going to bring this season to a close with some more complicated routing scenarios, but using Vue.js. So we're going to expand upon episode number 5 of this particular season. We're going to switch things up, though. Instead of using the here map renderer, we're going to switch it over to Leaflet, which we saw in the React example as well as season 1. And we're going to cover a common problem known as the traveling salesman problem. Have you ever heard of that, Peter?
We talked about it briefly at the end of the last episode.
Yeah, so
I have heard of it.
I won't give any details yet. We'll see them when we get there. But I did want to say that anything that we do on this episode or prior episodes, it is on GitHub. Peter can throw up that link up in the chat.
Yeah.
So each video on demand is correlated to its own season and its own episode. I'm just going to walk through this real quick.
I'm going to show you a screen?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I thought my screen was being shared. That's all right. Is it
Nick,
shared now?
Nick, we always start in big head mode with the titles. Just got to let me know when you want to transition.
All right. Are we transitioned?
We're here. Yeah, we're on your
Sure?
screen. I'm sure. I see it.
All right. Yeah. So GitHub. So each episode on demand is correlated to a season in a particular episode. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be copying episode number 5, and then at the end of the episode, I'm just going to push it up. So just follow along. If you get stuck, you could always explore all of the code that I went through after the fact. So no issues there. Sound good, Peter?
Sounds great. Real quick.
Yeah.
I forgot to talk about this. We are planning out season 3. We're getting renewed for another season. We're getting renewed for season 3.
The network hasn't cut us, huh?
We haven't been cut yet. So if you are interested to continue watching us, we're looking for suggestions for what we should cover for season 3. I put together a little poll that viewers can participate in chat. Let's see. Nightbot, here's your test. Here you go. Poll created. There it is. All right. So what should we cover in season 3? There's 3 choices that we have. I mean, if you see those 3 choices and you're like, I want something different, say something in chat. We'll talk about it and see if that's something that we can do. But these are our ideas. We want input from our community of developers that watch this stuff. So what do you want to see us cover? The 3 choices that we have right now are continue with frameworks but go deeper. Maybe pick Vue or pick another framework and keep going into it. Do a whole season on a single framework or whatever. We can dive deeper into just JavaScript without a framework, or we can try getting started with mobile in season 3. So answer that poll. I'll bring it up again at the end of the episode, so if you missed it, you can have a chance to view it. And we'll be posting another a Twitter poll later on our HereDev Twitter account. So that's it for me. Nick, continue.
We good now?
We're good.
All right. So I'm going to open up my code editor now. And I do have mock data here. This is my notes because we will be using a lot of different latitude and longitude coordinates. It's something that I don't want to have to remember these long numbers or have Peter look them up for me. But we'll get more into that in a second. As you can see, I've already copied episode number 5. I think I'm in that directory, maybe not. CD episode 6. And this is exactly where we left off in the previous episode. So I can open up a few files here, the index.html file. I'm going to open up the app.vue file. And then we have our here map view file. So before I do that even, I'm going to install the node packages. So the dependencies that were ignored from our git push. So I'm going to say npm install, and this will install all of the Vue dependencies real quick. And I'm sorry ahead of time if I sniffle on this particular episode because I do have some allergies today.
I tried to convince him to make sure to turn his head away from the mic prior to a big sniffle.
Doesn't want me to disturb everyone.
We did a practice run.
All right, perfect. So we're back kind of where we let off. And what I can do is I could say npm run serve. We can just test this to see where we are. I do realize that I forgot to add my tokens back in. So we could do that real quick. Let me go to my here developer portal. I'm going to go to my projects. I'm going to hit projects. I'm going to go ahead and say pick one of my projects here, and I'm going to copy that JavaScript API token. I'm going to put it in so that way we can test it out. Just to see where we left off.
Oh, Palermo says only I can get sick on episode day.
Yeah, I'm not sick, just allergies. It's weird. So
what's wrong, Nick?
What did I forget here? What did I mess up somewhere along the way? I guess it's all right. We're going to be using Leaflet in this example. So we're actually not going to be using much of the here JavaScript SDK at all, or at all for that matter. I mean, it's up to you, Peter, if I should spend time figuring out why it's failing between these two versions, or
you You didn't change
proceed.
anything since then, right? That's what we worked on this time.
Oh, you know what? It seems to be working. I guess maybe it was cached in my browser session.
Okay.
That's weird. All right. I won't try to explain what just happened. But this is where we left off in the previous example here. So let's go ahead and swap it out with Leaflet. We saw Leaflet already in the past. Let's go ahead and swap it out in this example. So I do have a Leaflet web page open. If this is your first time getting exposed to it, it's just a different renderer. You supply the map tiles, and you could use its open source JavaScript framework for working with the map. So it's pretty easy to use. We can click on the somewhere around here is the quick start guide. It has what exactly we need to import into our page. So we have a CSS library that we're going to import. This all goes in the index.html file. So the CSS would go into the head. I can go back in. I could copy the script tag. So this would go at the end of the body. Similar to how we have it for here, right here. So I'm going to paste that in. I'm going to leave the here tags in there for now. I'm going to remove them at the end. But for now, let's just leave them in. Another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this here map component. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to call it maybe Leaflet component for now. So I'm going to paste it in. I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to call it Leaflet map, just so that way we can differentiate between the two. And that also comes with Leaflet map for the class name. Still on the same page, Peter?
I'm on the same page. There's also a link in chat if you want to check out Leaflet. There's a link to go.
So the first step here before we even get into the routing, though, is I want to get Leaflet working in Vue. So it'll just take a quick minute to get that working. But that's going to be consisting of initializing a new map with the here map tiles API. And since we want to do that after the map has, or after the page is rendered, we're going to be doing that inside of the mounted function. We're going to comment out the here platform because we're not going to be using it at all for this example. But what we're going to say is we're going to say something along the lines of this dot. Actually, I lied. It's not in the created. It's in the mounted because we want to mess around with our map after the page is rendered or after the component has rendered. So we can say this dot map equals L dot map, and we're going to provide it some information. So we're going to provide it a center point. And this is where my mock data comes in, so that way I don't have to remember my latitudes and longitudes. I'm going to copy the latitude. I'm going to copy the longitude. Did you have a question, Peter?
What? Hold on. Go back to that. Oh, okay. Never mind. Nope. Go ahead.
What were we thinking?
Well, I thought for some reason the left quotation marks was behind the equal sign, but I realized it's a negative because it's a negative longitude. Continue.
All right. Fair enough.
It was a little blurry on my screen. It looked like an equal sign, not a minus.
Should I zoom in? Maybe it's too small.
No, it's me. I'm looking on a little baby screen.
All right. Fair enough. So now we get involved with the actual here tiles. This is part of a Leaflet layer. And I'm actually going to copy that from the documentation here. It's somewhere in here, L tile layer. So what I'm going to do is let's just go ahead and copy that. I want to copy this right here.
You want to zoom in on that page just a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I don't want to copy the add to part because I'm constructing it just slightly different. But I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it in here. I'm going to fix my tabbing a little bit. And we're going to make some changes. So, for example, first of all, we're not going to be using Mapbox here. We're going to be using the here map tile API. And I do actually have a tab open. Actually, I lied. I don't have that tab open, but I can easily get to it. Let's go with that. So from the here developer portal, we go to the main documentation page. We go to, and I'll zoom in just a bit.
Is this the map?
Map tile. Yeah. So Peter will add that link into the chat. But what we have here is we have the following, and I could just copy this and we'll fill in the gaps in just a second. So I'll copy this right here, right on the main documentation page for map tile. I'm going to go back into the code. We're going to paste that in. I'm going to fix it a little bit. and I'll scroll through it as well.
We got only where Lacoste is here. He's saying hi. He's asking about what is Leaflet. I'm pretty sure you already pretty sure you've been on some Leaflet streams. And Roberto Dev's here. He says, "Hi all. I'm joining late on vacation. Have a nice stream."
Oh yeah, I think we heard
here.
from Roberto Dev. He's at the beach right now, right?
Oh.
I think he messaged me on Twitter.
Oh man.
I know. I'd rather be there, right?
Should we do a beach stream?
Yeah.
I don't think that would work very well, but
get a backdrop in here for us.
Yeah, okay. Maybe when we go back to big mode, we'll just be on the beach too.
Yeah, so what I'm doing here in terms of the map tile API is I'm swapping out these hard-coded values with variables that Leaflet is going to use when it initializes our tile layer. So these are reserved variables. They're filled in automatically by Leaflet. What we're going to be filling in the gaps with is some variables of our own. So for example, app ID as well as app code. And we can actually define those variables down here. So for example, we don't need these. These are Leaflet just from the example. We're going to switch this to app ID. We're going to erase this long string that we have here. And I'll paste that in just a moment. But we also have the app code. And let's see if I could bring this down, clean it up a little bit. All right, so let's go back into the developer portal. Let's go ahead and copy those keys. Because we're using the APIs this time, the REST API, we're not going to be using that JavaScript token. So we're going to default back into the app ID and app code for this particular episode. So if I go to my developer portal, I'm going to copy the app ID and app code values.
Gotcha.
Sound good?
Palermo says app ID and app code are used for REST API calls.
Yes, because we are using the REST API for map tile API.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is directly from the documentation. This is the map tile API. It's not the interactive map because that's part of the JavaScript SDK. This is the tiles that would populate that map, and in this case, it's populating Leaflet. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
All right, so let's go ahead. I know that I've hard coded them for now. I think that's fine. What I can do is I can remove these functions or these methods because we're going to be changing them up in a bit. And I'm going to refresh the page. I kind of just want to make sure that the Leaflet map renders for now. I'm going to change app view. So instead now we have to have Leaflet map. And we need to import that line. So we need to say this is, oops, that was weird. Leaflet map. And let's go ahead and import Leaflet map here. We're going to eventually remove here map for this example, but for now I'm just going to leave it in. And I'm going to erase all of this old here map stuff because it doesn't exist as of now.
Okay.
And we'll remove this as well, but not yet. Let's just go ahead and make sure that it worked. So I refresh, got a bunch of errors here. Let's see what we've got.
We still have our pink background from last episode.
I know. So that's where it renders in, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of errors that are not particularly helpful. Something is not a function inside of the app.vue file. See if I could find it real quick. Maybe somebody else spotted it if I made a problem, and I'm sure I probably did somewhere. See anything stand out? Where's Babs D? Is he on the line? He's good at spotting this, my mistakes.
He's here today. I haven't seen him in chat yet.
Really?
I saw him in the kitchen. He was harassing me for cold brew.
Oh, got it. Something is not a function here. I assume I have a typo somewhere. And these
It's not
errors are
giving
very
you a line. Oh,
non-descriptive,
no.
right?
Yeah.
It's not giving me a line number this time.
Well, what's it?
Uh,
You getting a lot of leaflet errors and view errors?
yeah, it thinks there's a problem in the app.vue file. So let's just take a look real quick.
Maybe zoom in on the error message.
Oh, was it too small?
It's tiny.
Got it. Is that better?
Mm-hmm. You can drag it up so you can see more.
That is up.
Oh.
Up.
We didn't scale up the bottom. The bottom of the window.
Oh, should I scale it up?
Yeah. Yeah. Scale it up.
Tell me when to stop.
Oh, down.
Down?
Right until the network top of where it says network, underneath.
Got it.
Right there.
Better?
Go a little further. That's fine. Yep.
All right.
Only where Lacoste says RM minus RF tilde question mark.
Okay. Let me start removing stuff real quick. I'm gonna remove this just in case this is our culprit. We'll work our way backwards real quick. All right, so it has something to do with that line. So I'm gonna undo it. I made an error somewhere. Let's take a look.
Did you maybe paste over? Maybe.
What do you think I pasted over?
Yeah, maybe just repaste that URL and replace with your app.
Oh wait, I think I know what's going on. So I didn't actually use this reference, so it's not referencing an actual map. I forgot a parameter, so that probably explains the problem here. So I want to say this refs map, right? You remember that from the last time, Peter?
Oh, yeah. Kind of.
Kind of. It didn't work. Let's see. I've got other stuff. Other stuff to look at.
What else are
here.
you missing?
I'm looking. This is just a minor hiccup, but we will troubleshoot, right? L.tile layer. That looks right.
In case you're wondering, I added a bug emote.
Bug emote. All right. Worst case, what I can do is I can go back into our GitHub repository and just copy and paste what I had in there because it'll still work.
Can't you just look at you duplicated the here map, right?
Yeah, but we weren't using Leaflet in the previous.
Oh, true.
Remember, this is Leaflet with the map tiles API.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere I have probably this minor, very silly bug that probably should never exist, but it does, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's always what it is.
Let's just go back into the. Actually, I have it open right here. Season 1, episode number 2, right? That's where we saw it last time.
Leaflet was episode 2? I think so.
Yeah, of season 1, yeah. And oddly enough, I feel like it's pretty much the same. Let's copy it. Doesn't hurt, right? I don't want to get too hung up on this.
Mm-mm. Palermo says it's always fun to watch Nic troubleshoot.
Oh, because it's chaos? All right, let's paste in my tokens. And
what's the...
We'll revisit that later.
Will you have were you calling a constant tiles in the...
No, I just put it directly in there. Let's just make sure that this works. Of course it works, right? So somewhere between these two versions, there's an inconsistency. Maybe if there's time, we'll revisit that after. But it's still, as you can see, it still uses the map tile API. Everything should be more or less the same, right? Maybe it didn't like my underscores. Who knows? You never know. But it works. So we have a leaflet map. That's where I was trying to go. This wasn't the focus of this particular episode. The focus now is that traveling salesman problem. So any idea what that means, Peter?
Yes, isn't it the trying to make the most efficient route for all the locations or something you have to hit, right?
Yeah, so maybe if I were to use the example of package deliveries, right? You're at some courier service. I'll make up my own. I'll call it Raboy's Courier. And we have a warehouse, and we need to fill our truck and deliver all of our packages in the day, right? And that could be a lot of packages, and there could be a lot of addresses involved. So the idea is, if I'm at the warehouse, how do I deliver all of these packages in the most efficient way and then return to the warehouse to drop off my truck and go home, right? Because I can't just take all of the packages in order that they were put on the truck and assume that that's the most efficient way, because I could be doing all kinds of crazy navigations, right? And it may take me a month to deliver all those packages in that scenario, right? So what we can do is there's actually an API that here offers. It's called the Waypoint Sequence Extension API. And what that does is you provide it a list of waypoints in no particular order, and it will sort it so that way it gives you the waypoints back in the order that they're fastest traveled, or the most efficiently traveled. It doesn't calculate the route between them. You still have to use the routing API that here offers, but it does tell you the most efficient sequence of waypoints.
Cool. So I think a viewer called Silverdark tried to share a link. I think it was maybe a screenshot that got blocked by Nightbot. Apologies.
Sure.
Saying that the l.map. Oh wait.
Did they spot my error?
Didn't use new before l.map.
Oh man, wouldn't that be silly if that was the reason?
Yeah.
Let's try that out. Otherwise, this is gonna haunt me, right?
Yeah, right there. So when you initial, this .map should be new l.map.
That would be bad. Yeah, of course that's it.
Hey, Silverdark, you win.
Yeah, good catch. Good
All
right,
work.
so I was almost there. And I didn't do anything fancy. Like I demonstrated, it was just copying really from the docs. Anyways, though, let's start making this happen. So I do have mock data, like I said at the beginning of the episode. This is my waypoints in no particular order, except for they are roughly around my center point. So that way I don't have traveling between multiple states or countries going on in this particular example. We're keeping it around the same city. Is that fair?
That's fair.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that in.
MB Hirsch says he's registering a domain for you for Raboy's Courier. In case if you want to make this your full-time job.
Yeah.
You could start a company, yeah.
Delivering packages more efficient than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a plan for me.
Or maybe he's trying to steal your idea.
Oh, is he? And then he's gonna
sell you with the
make it look
domain.
bad.
Yeah.
All right, he's gonna squat on that domain. All right, so I have those sample data added. So now we need to sort it using that Waypoint Sequence API. We're going to create a function for that inside of the Leaflet map component. So inside of the methods, what I'm going to say is I'm going to create a method. Let's call it calculate route sequence. And I'm going to provide it waypoints. So the waypoints that are on the previous page, the app.view component, are going to be passed into this component and then sorted. Is that fair?
That's fair.
So if I go to the documentation, let's go ahead and look at what that API looks like. We're going to go back to the docs. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go to somewhere in here, Waypoint Sequence. And to start, I'm just going to copy this REST call because we're gonna make use of it in a second.
Okay.
So I'm gonna paste it in. I'm gonna comment it out. We're gonna pull bits and pieces from it. I'll explain what's happening as we do it. But there are numerous ways to make an API request in Vue or JavaScript in general. You could use fetch, which is what Babs D likes, Dylan, from episodes 4 and 5, or 3 and 4, one of those combinations. Yeah. For this, because it's we've got a lengthy set of parameters there, I actually prefer to use a package called Axios. So that's what I'm going to install, and that could actually be done by saying npm install Axios -- save.
Okay.
And it does make it very convenient. I think Michael Palermo demonstrated Axios in a few of his AWS Connections episodes. I think that's what's being used in Lambda, but I don't remember for sure.
Okay. We're at 30 minutes.
Sure.
Just as a heads up.
I think we'll make good time.
Lacoste is asking why you put the data in mounted.
Yeah. Wait, no. So this is methods. Are you referring to app.vue? Maybe. I put it in here because we can't work with our map because it's a visualization component. It's loaded through JavaScript. We can't work with any rendered components until after we're sure that they've mounted. So if I were to put this in the created method, well, the visual aspect of it for Vue might not be loaded yet, so we would get errors. So mounted is a lifecycle event for Vue. So by adding it there, we're sure that the map has loaded at this point, and now we can actually start using our stuff.
Okay.
Maybe that makes sense?
I think so. I think that's what the question was.
You can always stop me if there's more questions, right,
Yep.
Peter?
I'm keeping an eye out.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and finish up this method now. So we have Axios installed. What I can do is I can say Axios. Axios expects certain things. So for example, it expects a URL. Well, we have the URL right here. So I'm gonna copy and paste it in. Next up, this is a GET request. So we provide the method. It's going to be GET. These are URL parameters. So we have to define params. And this could be done as an object, but we have a mode. This is going to be fastest car. We have a start point. The start, let's go ahead and use that as a center point. Is that fair enough, Peter?
Yeah.
And I think, did I hard code that? I think I hard coded it for now. Yeah, I hard coded it for now. Let's go ahead and make those actual properties that can be passed in. So let's go ahead and say lat is going to be a string. Longitude is also going to be a string. And with that, I can copy this, go back into the app.vue file, and see where I'm using leaflet map. I can actually say lat now equals this, and then longitude, because we've defined available properties for Vue. Longitude is equal to that. And with that in, oh yeah, it doesn't like that I didn't finish what I was working on, but that's fine. This dot lat, because now it's part of the properties. This dot longitude, so that's our center point, and our start is also going to be that. So what we can say is we can say this dot lat, comma, this dot longitude, because that's the format that it expects. It expects a comma delimited latitude and longitude for start and end. And because we want to end up back where we started in the end, we're going to say that the end is the same thing. Yes, exactly. We have our app ID and app code. So app ID, app code, and I believe I hard coded those as well. So this is where we're going to pull those out again, just like we did the lat and long. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to say app ID string, app code string. Let's go ahead and move those over. Those are in the app.vue file. So app ID equals this. App code equals that. Then I can swap those out with variables now. I still can't believe this is still dwelling on me right here, if you can believe it.
It's okay, Nick. It happens to the best of us.
That's worse than the nonsense that happened in the bonus episode of season 1.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, I mean that was a rough one. We were stuck on that for a while.
Yeah. Well, I've got people paying attention in this episode, so that's good.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what I'm typing in here. It's app code and app ID.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at you. You're
Not even paying attention.
No.
All right, so we've got it mostly done now. So now what we have to worry about is the destinations, right? So the destinations is basically destination and then some kind of index value. But if we look at our app view file, we have an array of objects. So we do need to properly format this into, first of all, destination, and then also as comma delimited as well.
Okay.
So an easy way to do that would be to just loop through them. So I could say something like let destinations equals object to start, and then I can say for let I equals 0, just a standard loop here. Waypoints dot length I plus plus, and then I can say destinations. We'll say destination plus I, so that way we get whatever the loop iterator is, equals, and then we can say waypoints I dot lat, comma waypoints I dot longe. And there's probably 100 other different ways that you could do this better than what I just did, but it'll work for our example. Another thing we have to take into consideration is this starts at 0, where this kind of starts at 1. So a quick fix for that would be just I plus 1.
Okay.
And we'd be fine.
So you're just reformatting the array to be fed what it's looking for, pretty much.
Yeah, we want to match this format. We don't need to have this label in there, but we do need the lat and long separated by comma. And a good way to add it now to this parameters is I learned about this recently. You could use this command. I believe this has to do with a set. So basically, we're just kind of merging the two objects together. So we're adding this destination object to this parameters list to kind of shortcut it, which I think is pretty cool.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So that's our request. That covers everything that we saw in the documentation, but now formatted for our Vue application. So this does return a promise. So what we could do is we can say return Axios, but we can also say then result. And for now, let's just maybe print it out. Console.log result. What happened?
Silver dark, eyes like an eagle.
Oh man, what did I miss?
Destination without an S, or destinations, right?
Did I?
So when you created the it's destinations.
Oh man, you're right. This
Ooh,
wow,
2 for 2.
You got razor sharp vision on me.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. It's also got stuff yelling at me down here, but that's all right. Anyways, let's print it out. Now it's still not as bad as the other one with the new. I think we would have found out that I was missing the S eventually, right, Peter?
Yeah. I feel like
So
it would throw like an error out of your promise, right?
Probably. So let's try this. We have our calculate route sequence. So I'm back in my app.vue file. I'm going to say map.calculate route sequence. I'm going to provide it the waypoints. And I'm just going to say then result. And I'm going to just leave it like that because I'm printing it out inside. Oh, actually, let's change it first. Let's just return it. We're going to return it as is. I won't chain it yet. We're returning Axios. It's a promise. We'll come back to it. I'll go back to the app view, and I'll print it out here. Console.log result. And I'll save it. So I go back into my web browser. I go back to the application. I'm going to bring up the console. I'm going to refresh it. It's got a bunch more errors. So Axios, I actually forgot to import it, which is fine. That would explain that error. If I go back to the Leaflet map, right where I define the class up top here, I can say import Axios from Axios because we downloaded it, we never imported it.
Okay.
So I'll run it again. So we have a result. I go to data, I go to result, I look at the waypoints, I look at waypoints here. So now this is our sorted sequence. You'll notice that they're kind of all over the place because I provided them waypoints in no particular order. But this is what it calculated it to be, the most efficient kind of destination of travel. And that's what we're going to be using to render on the map. Does that sound good so far?
Sounds good.
So I'm going to copy this node, so this property path. I'm going to go back into Visual Studio. This is where I'm going to chain my promise, so that way it's a little easier for us to parse. Rather than just returning Axios, I'm going to say then. I'm going to say result, and I'm going to say return, and I'm going to return exactly that. So result.data.results, the first item. So that way we don't have to parse as much going forward here. So now we just have the order.
Nice.
So that's the first step down. The next step is let's draw routes between them and add markers. So this is the easiest part. This is the part that we've seen several times already in the previous episodes. So let's take a look. Let's create another function. I'll erase this, not necessary anymore. Let's go ahead and create another function here. Let's call it draw route maybe. So I'm going to say draw route. We're going to be passing in a sequence or waypoints or whatever you want to call it. And we're going to be doing pretty much very similar stuff to what we just saw. In the previous versions of the videos that we saw, I think I used the actual JavaScript SDK to get the job done. This is just going to be a REST request. So I'm going to go to the documentation. We're going to look for routing. And you could actually paste that link in, Peter.
I'm on it.
Perfect. You'll see that this request looks kind of similar to what we've seen so far, but this you'll have to remember that this is a different API that we're calling. So I'm going to paste it in, use it as a reference point. I'm going to comment it out, and we're just going to do another Axios call. So we're going to say Axios. We're going to provide it a URL. We're going to provide it a method, which is get, and we're going to provide it params. So for the URL, it's this calculate route. For the parameters, we have app ID, this .app ID because it was passed in as a property, app code, this .app code. We have mode is going to be fastest car. We can say we need representation. Actually, do you remember why we need that, Peter?
Representation? What?
Yeah. This is a parameter that wasn't in the documentation for this particular call. But do you recall why we need to include this?
No. No idea.
So we need this because we plan to draw it on the screen. We plan to draw a polyline. So by including representation display, it's actually returning the points that will construct our shape, which would be the polyline.
Oh, okay.
Because you can calculate the route and never intend to draw it. You can get maybe the turn-by-turn text directions.
Okay.
You can get maybe the distance traveled. You don't absolutely need to render a polyline.
So you're asking for the representation of the data to be for display purposes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then finally we have waypoints, and remember they're formatted special, right? Comma delimited. They start with waypoint 0, 1, etc. And if I look back at Google Chrome here, you can see that this again is an object or an array of objects. So we do need to do that same kind of transformation. So we could say something like let waypoints. I'm doing it plural. Just remember that it's plural. We're going to say for let I equals 0, I less than sequence dot length I plus plus, and we're going to do the same thing. Waypoints. We're going to say waypoint plus I equals sequence I dot lat, comma sequence I dot long. And then we can just add it in with that special operator that I showed. All right,
Plural.
so that, yeah, plural. I made everything plural everywhere, right?
Looks like
Just to
it.
be sure.
Yeah.
So that'll get our calculation, and we're gonna eventually draw that on the screen. But let's go ahead and say then result, and let's just console log it to see what we end up with. And we actually got to call it too. And actually, I'm going to make a change here. So rather than nesting a bunch of promises together, I'm going to use that modern async await. So I'm going to make this an asynchronous function that's mounted, and I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to say let sequence equals, and it's just going to equal that result. Make it a little easier on us, right?
Palermo's asking, why not a for each statement? What's
where?
his preference for when you're going through the array?
In here?
I'm guessing.
Yeah, so you might be able to. I don't know if the for each allows you to get the index. So that's the important piece of information here, the index of the loop. Because if we do a for each, I know that we can get the actual object or the element of each iteration, but we really need that number. And I don't want to have to create a counter separately. So I don't know. Maybe Michael Palermo knows something I don't when it comes to for each. Maybe you can actually get access to the index. I don't know. That'd be cool. I would use that going forward if that's a thing. I'll let him school me on that while I type this out. But we're going to say map.drawRoute sequence. And we're going to see what it prints out in the logs. Hopefully not errors. All right. So this is the route. So we have data, we have response. If this is your first time being exposed to it, we have the leg, so the different maneuvers. So these would be the text turn by turns, which isn't too exciting for us for this example. We're more interested in the shape. So the shape includes actual points that construct a line. Do you remember that, Peter?
Yep.
From previous examples. So we're just going to copy that node so that way we can use it in our example. So copy property path. I'm going to go back into Visual Studio Code. I'm going to go into Leaflet map, and this is where we're going to start rendering it. So we're going to say let's just go ahead and say shape equals what I had just copied from the console log.
Palermo says good answer, by the way, to your for each response.
Oh, so is there no way to get an index, I assume, from that?
I'm guessing not.
So, all right, perfect. So we have our shape data. Let's figure out how Leaflet requires that we render a polyline, because I don't use Leaflet enough to remember off the top of my head. So we're going to go to the docs real quick on Leaflet, and we're going to go to polyline. So this is how it expects to draw a polyline. So let's go ahead and use that to our advantage. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back into the code here. I'm going to paste it there for now. So basically, what we need is an array of arrays, where each array item is the latitude and longitude. So we do need to do some formatting of our data, because right now we have a comma separated. It's not an array. But that's an easy fix. So what we can say is maybe let positions equals. We can say shape.map. So we're gonna transform the data. We're gonna say point, and we're gonna say point.split, and we're gonna split by the comma. So the split command on a string in JavaScript will return an array, and we already know that our data is lat comma longitude. So the array will translate perfectly into positions. So that way we can use it in the next line, which would be polyline. And we don't really need to save it as anything, but we're going to say positions. Maybe we don't give it a color. And we can say this.map. And I'm going to save it. We're going to see if we get lucky here for it working. Yeah, so I've got something down in there, right?
Wow.
But by looking at this, would you be able to tell what that route is?
No.
You just see a route in general, right?
Yep.
So what we want to do is we probably want to add, first of all, markers for each stop.
Mm-hmm.
And we probably want to be able to visualize how this
The
is
direction, possibly.
drawn.
Start.
Yeah.
I guess you know the start and stop. But I guess no.
I don't know. Oh, yeah. The start and stop is the center point, which is probably right here,
Mm-hmm.
if you can see my cursor. But we're going to get to the bottom of that in just a second. So let's start by adding markers to this map.
Okay.
So let's go back. Oh, go on.
So we started with an array of points.
Yes.
We had to convert that to an array to be fed into the routing. We had to like change the format, and then we had to take the the response and change that format. So it's a lot of just reworking the original.
There is a lot of massaging of the data.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, I just removed it. When you're working with query parameters like this, let me snooze this. When you're working with query parameters like this, they can't necessarily be complex.
Mm-hmm.
So it's best if they're just strings. If this was like a post request and we had a post body, we could use more complex objects, and then maybe we wouldn't have to do all of the massaging. But it's just the nature of how these REST API endpoints are constructed.
Mm-hmm. And that first way that we change the initial array is just because the format that we started with.
Yeah. We flattened it.
Yeah. I mean, we could. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's just we have a more readable format to start with for our data, right?
Yes.
The original series of points that we want to stop.
Because I mean, we could. I mean, I'd rather not work with just an array of strings.
Yeah.
It could be ugly to look at. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and create another method. We're almost done. This is the home stretch, and I'm going to show something cool that Dylan actually showed me, which I've trying to use more frequently. But let's go ahead and drop our markers first. We're going to create a function for this. I'm going to say drop markers. I'm going to provide it a position. Let's go ahead and say l.marker. We provided a position. We can say add to this.map. I believe that's what we're looking for as far as that particular command. If it errors out on us in a second, we'll know why. I'm going to loop through these waypoints. So what I'm going to say is I'm just going to say, this is where I can actually do the for each. I can say waypoints.for each. I can say waypoint. I can say map.drop marker. And I can say waypoint. And I think it'll accept it in that format. We'll find out. But we're just looping through each of the waypoints and adding it as a marker on the map. So let's just try to see if it works. It looked like it spazzed out completely, right?
It was there for a second. It went away.
Map.drop marker. Did I name it something else?
Draw marker? Or no?
Did I say draw? Oh, drop.
Markers.
There's
plural.
a stray S. Stray S in there. I'm also going to zoom in a bit because it zooms out pretty far.
Yeah.
When we're started. So let's maybe say 12. Yeah. So we've got markers now. It doesn't look. It didn't add the starting point because I didn't tell it to because it wasn't part of our mock data. But this kind of induces that that's the starting point, right? All right. So now the next step is I want to animate that. So there's actually a cool Leaflet library that'll do this for us.
Whoa.
I think it's pretty neat. It's called Leaflet Snake Animation. It does it kind of like this in this animated picture.
Cool.
But I feel like that can do us wonders when it comes to sharing what a route could look like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to do it, I'm actually going to use a CDN rather than download this whole project. So I'm just going to copy it from a CDN.
Did you send me a link to it?
I didn't, because I think the preferred way to do it is probably just to download this whole package. But I'm cheating. I can send you the link if you really want it. But I just typed in Leaflet Snake Animation CDN, and it was the first result on Google. So I can go back into my project. I can go to index.html. I can paste it in. It's just a JavaScript library. I'm pasting in after the leaflet. Oops. I can say script source equals.
I think I found it.
Perfect. So I added it. Now what we can do is I can go back into Leaflet map. It's very easy to use this. I can go back into this draw route, and right where we're adding this polyline to the map, I can say snake in to the end of it.
Oh, nice.
I can save it. I can go back to my code here, refresh, and you can see it's fast. You can slow down the speed, but it's drawing my path of travel, right?
Cool.
So
Nice.
I mean, ignoring all the mistakes that I had that were just simple coding errors, we didn't actually add a lot of code.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it was just Leaflet setup, right?
Yeah. MB Hirsch asks if you can put a sequence number on the markers, and for extra credit, can you put a total estimated time, marker by marker?
Yeah. So as far as a sequence number, I did play around with this a bit. So in Leaflet or even the here renderer, there's no way to add numbers to standard default markers. So that leaves you with two options. You can either use custom images for the markers, or you can create an SVG marker. So an SVG image, which would be a vector marker, but SVG is just XML. So you can create a custom marker that way and add text. I am not an SVG wizard, so I won't embarrass myself there. I've done it before. I have a blog post coming out on it soon, but it's not something I've committed to memory or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sequences like that would work. The routing API in general. So in regards to the total time, I don't know if MB Hirsch's question was total time to navigate all markers and then home, or between each marker. So
marker by marker. That's what he said.
Marker by marker, yeah. So the routing API, so that response, even though I've chosen to only look at the shape data, it also does return the distance and the time, the estimated time to travel between them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he says both.
Both. I don't know if I assume the Waypoint sequence API returns an estimate, although maybe I'm wrong, because the goal of that isn't to tell you how to get to the points. It's just to sequence the waypoints in order.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can just spin them all out, tally them up, and add them as a.
Yeah, I could. Well, yeah. I mean, it might tell me the total. Actually, when I use the standard routing API, mm-hmm. because remember, these are all waypoints in the same single request. This is one request right here. I'm adding all of the waypoints in, so I think it will calculate them both. We could always print it out if you're interested.
You can try it. Palermo says technically you could do waypoints.index of parentheses item and array close parentheses to get index value, but your method's more efficient.
All right, perfect. All right, so let's look at this response here. So I have data. Let's see what we have as far as times. So route, waypoint. You see anything in there that might look useful to us?
Timestamp is the call time, right?
Yeah, I've seen it in here before. I just don't remember where I saw it. So there's travel time between each event, right? Or each turn in your navigation. But mm-hmm. I feel like I have seen it somewhere in the response for total. I just don't recall where.
Maybe within the waypoints.
Maybe. It might be something that we have to specifically request in our request, kind of like how the representation display.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I looked at the simple route, right? So I look at I don't know, quick start. Let's see where we end up here. This is the quick start.
Palermo says time is fading. Just a quick plug for our Places episode tomorrow. And Hirsch says I'll stop with feature creep.
yeah, definitely. Anyway,
the answer is I'm sure there's a way.
I've seen it somewhere. I just don't remember where I found it.
Yeah. Is that it for you, Nick?
I think so. I mean, I solved what I had hoped to solve, right?
Yeah.
The traveling salesman problem. If I were to provide you just those waypoints, and I can actually show it, see what kind of craziness it would look like. Let's skip a step here.
Edit those, right? You can just change the.
So this, I'm just going to plug waypoints in directly, right? And see what kind of nonsense we end up with.
Wait, what? Oh, if you just route from the actual waypoints in order.
Yeah, you see that chaos? It doesn't even make sense. Do I need to show it again?
Yeah, zoom in there. Pull your. There you go. Nice.
That's highly inefficient, right?
That's good. That's a solid route. I like the turnaround up on the the freeway. Nice.
Yeah. So
Hirsch says bravo. Good work, Nic.
All right. It is a valuable API that we offer though here. This Waypoint sequence extension.
Awesome. Palermo says it's a scenic tour.
Yeah.
Of just random people's houses.
Yeah. Imagine that scenic tour in a more congested city though, like San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Good work, Nic. That was a cool episode. I had fun.
Awesome.
So this wraps up season 2 of Developer Waypoints. This episode will be available for 2 weeks on Twitch. You can watch it as a past broadcast in the videos panel. And in a week, it'll be up on YouTube. So I'll throw out our YouTube playlist link. If you go there, you can see all of our past shows up on YouTube, and organized by episode and date. If you just got here, this is your first time watching an episode, you're super lost, you can start with Developer Waypoints episode 1, and that's when we introduce you to the whole developer.here.com, setting up an account and getting started. There's AWS specific content. There's one episode of Explore XYZ, and we've got a lot more coming. So make sure that you can also follow our YouTube channel, but you'll get a lot of other content through that. What else? So if you still have questions after watching this episode, whether it's after being live or if you watch a YouTube video, if you're watching it on YouTube right now, you can go to our Slack channel right here. We'll be there. We'll be hanging out, and you can ask us questions. There's already a few viewers that are there too that post things that they create cool stuff with our APIs and share it, and we share some love. What did her say? Bland diet between now and then. Oh. So upcoming episodes. Tomorrow we have a AWS Connections episode with your boy Nic. And Michael Palermo was sick last week, so we had to move last week's AWS episode to tomorrow. So we've got 2 episodes in a row, everybody. So tomorrow, the Thursday, the 22nd, at 11 a.m. Pacific time. It's the same time as today, just tomorrow. And that is AWS Connections, doing serverless, focus on places. Right? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Sorry, I was loosely paying attention. I was pushing the code up to GitHub.
Okay. So there's I'll just share the GitHub link again.
Yeah, it's now up there, or
Okay.
It should be up there. Yep, it's there.
Yep. So if you want to walk through all of everything that we made, if you just want to download it, mess around, add your own waypoints, go for it. The next episode of AWS Connection after tomorrow is actually next week on Wednesday, August 28th. 11 a.m. Pacific time, same time as today, just next week. And that one is serverless weather with the weather API. So that'll be interesting with Palermo and with Nic. Coming back to the poll. Let me see. Poll results. There we go. We've got 2 votes so far.
Oh, yeah?
So,
awesome. What are they?
Head to that straw poll and answer our question. We are planning out season 3 of Waypoints, and we want some input from our viewers. What do you want to watch? What are you trying to learn about? There's 3 options. There's more than 3 options, but there's 3 options to vote for. It's we can continue in frameworks, and we can dive deep into a specific framework. So if you're a big fan of Vue and you're like, give me some more Vue, I want to check that out. Vote for what you want. We can do just a deeper dive into JavaScript in general with our APIs, or you can do like a getting started with mobile. We can do a fresh start, and we can do some mobile exploration. Nic is a super mobile expert with both Android and iOS.
I don't know about that.
We'll probably do some guests if we do the mobile guides. And wait, what? Palermo is in Mexico next week. Are you serious? Was that a joke? That's weird.
Do we have some scheduling conflicts now?
I hope not. Michael, we'll have a talk after the show. Better be a joke. Serious? Okay, well, let's talk after. Oh, really? Okay, well, let's talk after this show. We may post some updates on Twitter again. Michael Palermo. What? Oh, I'll share your Twitter there, Nic. If you want to catch up, we have Nic's Twitter. We have our Here Developer Twitter and our Here Developer blog. If you want to catch up on other things. Silverduck says flight's canceled. Sorry, Michael, you're out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was gonna add. Definitely follow the blog. So I think this week or next week, I have a blog post queued up that has the SVG markers in there. So
okay.
If you are curious.
Yeah. So our blog is in chat right now. So if you want to go there, Nic makes a lot of content. Michael does some content. Our other evangelists do content too. Babs D does some stuff. He's been missing today. Thank you, everyone, all of our viewers, for participating. This has been an awesome episode. We had some great contributions. Silver Dart came in and saved us 2 different times.
Oh, yeah.
Keely Pop Smurf, who's coming to Mexico. Thank you to everyone for showing up. Lacoste, thank you for Lacosting us. Roberto Dev had a little input on vacation from the beach. Oh, we should go to the beach.
Yeah.
Hold on. Hold on here. There we go. To that. To this. And then.
You better be putting up a good beach if you're gonna put a background.
Yeah. This is
I don't want one of those one of those sketch beaches.
This is gonna take too long. There we go. It's a little loud. Okay. So we're on the beach with Roberto Dev. We're just going to be chilling here until season 3 starts. We have a new follower, NCap3. Thank you for the follow. So make sure you follow us. Click that bell button to be notified for when we go live tomorrow and next week, whenever it is. Make sure you follow us on our channels. And Palermo's going to be in Mexico for AWS Summit. So if you're there, go give him a shout out. And I think that's about it, unless there's a shameless plug. You already did your shameless plug. That's it.
I don't have any shameless plugs.
Okay.
I think I'm good. It's been fun. Season 2's been fun.
Yeah. Yep. So make sure that you vote in the poll for what you want. We'll post on Twitter this week to get some more results. And also let us know if this time and date is a terrible time or if it's a good time. We're kind of keeping it every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time, just because that's kind of where we're located. But if a different time would be better, if this is hard for you to make, but just let us know. Give us some feedback. We're looking forward to it. Thank you, everyone, so much. We'll see you next time on Developer Waypoints.
Bye.